Hello, this is Connor Dennis from Pei-Cheng Elementary. I wanted to make another short video talking about the differences between American and Taiwanese schools. So let's get started. A big difference I've noticed between American and Taiwanese schools is scheduling. So American elementary schools generally have a shorter day. For instance, I went to school from about 8:45 till about 2:30 when I was in elementary school. It's a generally shorter day, but what I've noticed in Taiwan is the students get a lot more breaks throughout the day. So in American schools, we have like usually 1 to 2 minutes to walk between class, which really isn't enough time, especially if you have a big campus. So I've really enjoyed seeing that Taiwanese schools take time for breaks between classes. I think that's really important for students, and I much prefer the Taiwanese model in terms of scheduling. Um, in terms of time management, though, one big difference between American and Taiwanese education is that after-school programs are not very common in the U.S. So things like bushibans or cram schools, really only upper class people in the US will have access to these kind of resources, and even then it's not too common. So when students get out of school in the US, usually they either go home or go to play sports or go over to friends' houses. It's not very common for them to go to secondary school once their elementary school has gotten out for the day. So it's been interesting to see that Taiwanese schools do get a lot more breaks within the day. However, the students probably end up working for longer hours due to things like bushibans and after-school programs. Another big difference I've noticed is there's a huge disparity between bilingual efforts in American schools as opposed to Taiwanese schools. So, as we know, Taiwan has a very lofty goal of reaching a bilingual status as a country by the year 2030. I think this is a very admirable goal, and it should be, pursued with great effort. We really don't have anything like this in the United States. I think most schools' language programs are very underfunded. For instance, we have about, I don't know, roughly half probably of the time spent in Taiwanese school studying English do we study Spanish, for instance, in the United States. So it's not exactly the same kind of effort, and we certainly don't have any government-wide um, efforts currently to become a bilingual country. And one major difference I've noticed, or at least have been told about, is how schools are funded. So in the U.S., elementary schools funding is determined by property taxes, meaning that if a school is in a poor neighborhood and the property isn't worth very much, the school will get less funding. So as my co-teacher has described to me, Taiwan's system is very different and a little more equitable. So that's been something I've been really pleased to learn about, is that Taiwanese schools distribute funding a little more evenly. So those are some of the other major differences I've noticed so far in my short time in Taiwan. Thank you for listening.